Uh, Hello everyone. In this video we are discussing manufacturing process of cement. There are two processes. First is dry process and second one is wet process. So in this video we are discussing only the dry process. Generally dry process is preferred in most of the cement industries because it has some advantages and maybe some due to reasons. The reasons are the coal consumption in the dry process is approximately one-fourth to that of the wet process, and second one, the wet process require higher consumption of power, and next maybe the production of cement by dry process is more economical and superior quality. So in this video we are going to discuss the dry process of manufacturing of cement. I'm talking about Portland cement. So in dry process of manufacturing cement, the operations are a mixing of raw materials and then burning and finally grinding. So we'll discuss step by step of manufacturing process in next slide. Following operations are involved in the manufacture of cement. The first is mixing of raw materials, next burning and then grinding. So in mixing of raw materials, the raw materials are first reduced to size of about 25 mm in crushers, and then the crushed materials is ground to fine particle into ball mill or tube mill. A ball mill or tube mill. So after screening each material, it is stored in a separate hopper, and then the powder is mixed in required proportions to get dry raw mix, and which is stored in a separate storage tank that is called silos, and finally it is kept ready to fed into the rotary kiln. So you can see in this figure a mixing of raw materials. Mixing of raw materials is here a calcareous material. Yes, calcareous material and argillaceous material. The argillaceous material is generally a clay. So it is fed into the a crusher. It is reduced to 25 mm size in crushers, and it is stored in a separate silos that is called maybe a bin or a storage. The calcareous materials to crushers and then to storage. Here the argillaceous material, that is clay, it is fed into the crushers and then into the bin. Okay, I repeat. So the raw materials is first reduced to size of 20 mm in crushers, and the crushed materials is ground to a fine particles to a ball mill and tube mill. I'll explain later about the ball mill and tube mill. Okay, so calcareous material, that is limestone, and this is clay. After crushing, it is mixed in a mixer. After crushed materials are crushed, then it is stored in a separate storage, and finally both a limestone and a clay is mixed in a mixture, you can see here, and finally the mixture is fed into the a rotary kiln for burning. Yeah, here this one, I'll explain this portion. After mixing calcareous and argillaceous materials, it fed into the rotary kiln for burning. So burning is carried out in a rotary kiln this will rotate at 1 to 2 rpm in the longitudinal axis. So rotary kiln is a steel tubes having diameter of about 2.5 to 3 meters dia and length varies from 90 to 120 meters. So inner side of kiln is lined with refractory bricks. The kiln is rested on roller bearing and supported columns, and the gradient of this kiln is 1 in 25 or maybe 1 in 30. It ranges between 1 in 25 to 1 in 30. So I'll tell the process of burning now in rotary kiln. So the process of burning is the raw mix is injected into the kiln from its upper end. You can see here this portion is upper and this portion is lower. So then next the burning fuel like powder, coal or oil or hot gases, you can see here hot here, are forced through the lower end. This is lower end, this is upper end, is forced through the lower end of the kiln. So the long hot flame is produced here. So due to the inclined position and the slow rotation of the kiln, the material charged from the upper end will move towards the lower end, that is hottest zone, at a speed of 15 meters per hour. So and finally, and I mean gradually descends, the temperature rises. So it descends, the temperature rises. So in upper part, the water or moisture in the material is evaporated at 4000 degrees Celsius temperature. So it is known as drying zone. In the central part, that is calcination zone, temperature is around 1000. I told in upper part, that is in this portion, the temperature is 4000 degrees Celsius. In central part 1000 degrees Celsius, where decomposition of limestone take place here. And finally the lower part, that is clinkering zone. What is clinkering? I'll tell you what is clinkering. In lower part, that is clinkering zone, have temperatures between 1500 to 1700 degrees Celsius, where lime and clay reacts to yielding calcium aluminates and calcium silicates. These aluminates and silicates of calcium fuse together to form small and hard stones, are known as clinkers. It forms small, hard, like stones. So it is called as a clinker. Clinker is a small and hard stones. The size of the clinkers may vary from 5 to 10 millimeter. As clinkers are coming from the burning zone, from here, burning zone, it will be very hot, and finally the clinkers are cooled down by air admitting counter at the base of the rotary kiln. So finally resulting hot air is used for burning powdered coal or oil, and cooled clinkers are collected in small trolleys or in small rotary kiln. So clinkers are collected in a small trolleys or small rotary kiln. So you can see here a rotary kiln clearly given in the figure as is explained. Now a dry zone, that is upper part, central part is a burning zone, and the lower part where air, hot air, cold dust is fed, and this rotary kit is supported on the supporter. You can see here a supporter. At the lower part, the small hard stones, that is called clinkers, it's collected at the lower part, and finally it is cooled and is collected in separate storage clinkers. Here the storage tank. From storage tank, the raw material is fed into the rotary kiln. From storage tank, it is fed into the rotary kiln. Okay, and these are the arrangements of rotary kiln. The operations of burning and grinding. So next, after burning, I'm going to explain the grinding. The operations of burning and grinding are same for both the process, that is for dry process and for the wet process. Okay, the mixing of raw materials are different in dry process and it will be different in wet process. And okay, here this, yeah, dry mixing of raw materials is different for dry process and wet process. And the next, burning and grinding, the process will be same for the both the burning and grinding. So after mixing of raw materials, calcareous material, limestone, argillous material, clay, both are mixed in a mixture, and then is it fed into the rotary kiln. Yeah, this is the burning process of rotary kiln. Yeah, next, after burning, the final stage is grinding. You can see here grinding. The cooled clinkers are ground into fine powders in ball mill or a tube mill. Here this is ball mill. This is ball mill. This figure shows the ball mill, and this is a tube mill which is in longitudinal section. So here cooled clinkers are ground to fine powder in ball mill or tube mill. And here 2 to 3% of powder gypsum is added as retarding agent during final grading, so that the resulting cement does not settle quickly when it comes in contact with the water. Okay, here gypsum is also added of 2 to 3% during the final grading, so the cement does not settle quickly when comes in contact with water. So that's the reason. So here, so these mills are used to carry out grading for raw materials or mixture of raw materials or clinkers. So the materials is fed from the top, fed from the top. When the mill is rotated about its horizontal axis, the steel balls strike against the curved plates. You can see a steel bars. It's not very clear actually. Inside this ball mills, you can see the curved plates here. So these are curved plates, and you can see at the bottom small steel balls are there here. Okay, the steel balls strike against the curved place, due to which they will crush the material here. So this is a outer casing. Here it is mentioned outer casing, curved steel, yes, and it's a sieve here, sieve, hard steel balls inside, and you can see here the bottom portion, the outer funnel. So it is fed into the ball mill, and next the tube mill. So in tube mill, it is in the form of long horizontal steel cylinder. The diameter is about 1.5 meter to 1.5 meter, and the length varies from 7 meter to 10 meter. So it is filled partly with steel balls. You can see here steel balls is mentioned here only. Steel balls size will vary from 20 mm to 26 mm. So the materials to be ground is fed from the inlet. Yes, inlet for feeding. It's fed from the inlet. Fine grind after achieving the fine grinding due to steel balls of smaller size, the grinded material is collected at the outer funnel. So the tube mill is supported on this supporter. Okay, uh, the material is fed from the inlet after achieving fine grinding due to steel balls. The grinded materials is collected at the outer funnel. So these are the process of manufacturing cement. First is mixing of raw materials, second is burning in rotary kiln, and then a grinding of clinkers. Okay, here the gypsum is also added in clinkers, and finally the material is collected in the outlet funnel, and then finally it is stored. The cement is stored. So this production of cement in dry process, you can see in this figure. Maybe it's not actually a complicated, it's a clear figure. The process will be same. You can see here clinker storage, yes, so clinker storage here, cement mill, cement silo means a storage, a gypsum. You can see in the red portion, this is a rotary kiln, raw mix here, raw mix, raw mill. The process is same. The figure is in a different style. Okay, in next slide it is very clear to understand. Yeah, it is in the flow diagram, the drape process. I'll make a brief here now in drape process. As I told earlier, first raw material, calcareous material, argillous material. Calcareous is limestone, argillous is clay. So both are crushed. So crushed in a crusher. So both are crushed in a separate crusher. Okay, you can see in the flow diagram also. The calcareous materials, it is crushed separately. Argillous material is crushed separately. After crushing, fine grade in ball mill, tube mill. After that it is stored in storage basin. Okay, both are mixed in correct proportions. Okay, both raw materials in correct proportions, and then after mixing it is stored in a storage tank, and finally a rotor kiln burning. Here I have mentioned here 1400 degree to 1500 degree Celsius of 1 to 3 rpm. Fuel from the lower end, as I told earlier, coal, oil or natural gas from the bottom. After burning it forms a clinker. You can see here clinker will form. Okay, the clinkers are ground to ball mill. Here gypsum is also added during this process. Finally, after clinkering it with gypsum, it is stored in cement silos, means cement storage. So finally it is packed in plant. So each packing is maybe, it is actually 50 kgs plus or minus 200 grams. So we discussed a manufacturing process in dry process.